tarde, tudo bem? Eu sou Lindy, gerente de expansão da Wadem Brasil. Sejam todos muito bem-vindos a este novo webinar organizado pela Wadem para Filial Brasil, a escola internacional de negócios com 28 sedes nos Estados Unidos, presente em 8 países de língua espanhola da América Latina e agora também no Brasil. É uma verdadeira honra contar com a presença de vocês hoje. Sabemos que o tempo de cada um é valioso e agradecemos profundamente por terem escolhido investir este momento para continuar se desenvolvendo conosco. Quem somos nós? A Wadden Prime é uma escola de negócios com visão global que oferece programas nas escolas de negócios, idiomas, tecnologia e formação profissional com diploma americano. Contamos com o respaldo acadêmico da Wadden University e com o aval institucional da Câmara de Empresários Hispânicos dos Estados Unidos, o que garante a qualidade e a projeção internacional dos nossos programas. Antes de começarmos, algumas orientações técnicas e de etiqueta para garantir uma experiência positiva para todos. Por favor, mantenha seus microfones desligados durante toda a apresentação para evitar interferências. Caso queiram fazer perguntas, podem escrevê-las no chat a qualquer momento. Ao final da conferência, teremos um espaço de 10 minutos dedicado exclusivamente para perguntas e respostas ao vivo. Todos os slides de hoje serão enviados em formato PDF, juntamente com o certificado oficial da participação, no prazo de até 72 horas úteis após o evento. A única contribuição que pedimos em troca é simples, mas muito valiosa: que nos enviem um breve depoimento ou avaliação sobre as suas experiências no curso e sobre o conteúdo recebido. Isso nos ajuda a melhorar continuamente e a seguir oferecendo formação acessível e de qualidade para mais pessoas. Muito obrigada e vamos começar. Mais uma vez, agradeço por estarem conosco. Pedimos que se preparem para fazer anotações e aproveitar o material ao máximo. E agora, sem mais demora, passamos a palavra para nosso professor Antônio e damos as boas-vindas mais calorosas. A palavra é sua.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to have this class out in English for you. It's a great pleasure to be here this afternoon. So our topic is mainly concerned about feelings and emotions. That's what we are going to talk today. And I am, as you know, an English language professor, and I accumulated 6 uh, graduate courses in my life, and I have been teaching English for more than 23 years. So I hope I can be clear enough for you to understand what I'm saying. Right, so a brief introduction about what we are saying. We are going to present 2 quotes which we think is very proper for the topic. So if you consider the evolution of business, because this is the business school, we're going to see that Maslow was a very important personage along the evolution of business administration history, because he explored hierarchical pyramid about the needs, and it was classified in physiological ones: status, security, self-esteem, and consideration. Well, then what are feelings and emotions? Basic points, divergent or convergent themselves. So let's start with these 2 very precious quotes. The first one: life starts now. Live, love, laugh, and let your light shine. It was said by Rob Liano. And another one, very precious in the United States and for all the world, the contribution of Walt Disney, who said once, happiness is a state of mind. It's just according to the way you look at things. So the first quote presents us feelings, and the second one, emotions, because happiness is a state of spirit, a state of soul, which reports to emotion, while love, laugh, and live, and how the way we live and face life deeply inside, we could say it is feelings, right? We have some main purposes during the class, which I would like to present for you, right? So By the end of this class, students will be able to recognize common feelings and emotions in English. Of course, use properly the verb to be and express their own feelings, right? And how they feel. Okay, so about this, how are you feeling today? Are you okay? So I hope you are. Thanks so much to be here with me. So identify emotions in short dialogues of visual scenes, which is also part of this conversation with you. So it is too much about English, and moreover than this, English, right? Okay, so are you ready? So let's go. Feelings work mainly with the mental interpretation of emotions. So we mean feelings are deeper than emotions. So we begin by unveiling the fundamental concept, laying groundwork for discussions that will lead us to a broader and more sensitive understanding of the subject. So the first step is feelings, the mental interpretation of emotions, how we experience them, and how we are influenced by personal memories, thoughts, and culture, and last longer and are more subjective. While emotions, automatic physical reactions to stimuli, for example, increased heartbeat, sweating, and universal and instinctive fear and angry or joy, short-lived and triggered by the brain's limbic system. So everything happens here before. So we have a scenery, we have a context, but the interpretation of all these inputs in our center, of processing information will be too much like a system, which is the whole thing of small parts, right? So you have an input, you process the information, and you have the output. So, right, component of emotions, it can be feeling component or bodily arousal, purposive component, social expressive component, for example. And a variety of emotion, positive or negative. So let's try to classify them firstly. Right, positive emotion, hopeful, peaceful, confident, and negative ones, exhausted, panic, obnoxious, or perceiving it like the body posture, or speech patterns, or gestures, or facial expressions. And the categories of emotions can be primary emotion. It's just a response to an event like joy, love, anger, sadness, fear, or surprise. And secondly, we have emotions like passion, optimism, irritation, disgust, shame, or nervousness. Factor affecting emotion like personality, culture, weather, stress, environment, organization, and age. Mainly, this is a subject which addresses to um, the variability of environment concerning the moment we are living, right? So, for example, the pandemic period, like SARS-CoV, it was a jail for everybody, you know, and too much anxiety and everything. But this is not new. So we face it along the history of the planet, situations that were also interpreted by famous authors in many different forms to express emotion and feelings. Like Canon Bard, I see a snake. I'm afraid. I tremble. Right? Tremble? James Lang, I am trembling therefore. I am afraid. You have a facial feedback. I am with an expression of fears, right? So Schechter also expressed it in his personal reports, a physiological around the face occurrence, right? Singer also manifested physiological arousal occurs first, and then the person checks the reason labeling as emotion. I don't know why I did that. So it simply did. And so why did I do that? So interpretation sometimes comes afterwards, right? So thinking first before emotion is reasonable, and we will understand this better. Everything depends too much about your emotional intelligence, I would say, because it's an ability to perceive nonverbal signals such as body language or facial expressions, control and evaluate emotions factors in accordance with the way you perceive emotions, reasoning emotions, paying attention to what your cognitive activity is ready to. There is someone with the phone on, please, Pietro. Can you disconnect your phone? Thank you. Right. So, and react to understanding emotions, a wide variety of meanings. What is the cause of anger? And for example, managing emotions, the ability to manage emotions effectively. Right. So this effect will come for you uh, in a kind of struggle. Right. Feelings are responses to stimuli from the challenge of a few reasonable feelings, and then a final exam to see what was the reason of the excitement for a job interview, for example. If you get motivated to go on, trigger direct behavior, or being motivated by learning and cognitive process. Well, I would ask the mediator to disconnect Pietro's phone, please. Can you? Lindy, can you disconnect Pietro's phone? All right, Pietro, disconnect your phone. Thank you. Right. So, how do emotions change? It is too much like
Pronto, pode
autonomic nervous.
continuar.
Right, okay. Can you disconnect Pietro? Because it's been very, very invasive, right? Okay, so it's just the rapid heartbeat and breathing, for example. If you start feeling that you have so much to say and you can't even speak, well, your throat just blocked, your mouth doesn't open, you have tension too much in your muscles, like a perspiration, trembling a lot of the extremities. So this is just an answer of the autonomic nervous system and the main responsible factor for physiological changes that accompany emotional reactions, like information between the brain and the body, right? So it is divided in sympathetic and parasympathetic systems, like two nervous systems, right? And finally, the limbic system divided in amygdala, and we are going to see the designs afterwards, higher and lower parts, and then the rage and aggression, hippocampus and septinoposa, it reduces the intensity of emotional reactions. Like hippocampus structure in the brain is primarily responsible for memory formation and learning too, right? So the main feature of us as humans could be said like we have the possibility to think and to decide about what we need deeply inside, while animals will work um, themselves very for the instinct, right? For the instinctively, right? So it plays a crucial role in converting short-term memories into long-term memories and also contributes to spatial navigation and emotional responses. It means that the animals can also get closer to you and express feelings and emotions, but they cannot too much decide when it is going to be manifest their feelings and emotions properly. They can be very aggressive or not. And we can have the self control of everything if we insist on training these emotions to be more, in control of difficult situations during our lives, right? So I don't know if you are concerned about this, but that's very curious. The center of our emotions the are deeply uh, allocated in a certain region of the body, uh, um, the back, our back. So the name is the psoas, and psoas means soul, the muscle that stores emotions. I think you had the sensation that it was deeply inside our brain, but the connection starts in our back, right? And it goes towards to the brain. So deep core muscle connecting the lower spine and part of the iliopsoas group, engaged in walking, sitting, bending, and breathing. Vital for posture, movement, and stability. Right? So why is it called the muscle of the soul? Because the body remembers what the mind suppresses. The psoas is sensitive to stress and fear, repressed emotions, past trauma and grief. Okay, let's talk about trauma. So I followed some experiences with some studies and articles I've written about traumas. If you check kids, for example, they probably will manifest traumas, sexual traumas, if they were violated sexually. So they start to manifest this along the designs they produce, right? So, like designing is also a way to assess what kids are going on, like in terms of traumas, and also when they lose someone who they really loved, um, not a person. As a matter of fact, it can be an animal too. But kids normally manage difficultly the loss in their lives, right? So, but they manifest this uh, along the process. As being a professor, you can check it, and then the school can be a very good bridge in order to tell mom and dad what is going on with that, right? So, in chronically contracted, it may cause hip tightness, lower back pain, shallow breathing, anxiety, or insomnia, digestive, menstrual disorders. So, we have to look carefully before looking for psychiatrical resources whenever the feelings or emotions are not being very well controlled, as a matter of fact, because there are several different ways to view a problem, and then medicines like Ritalina and all these medicines that normally the pedagogical professional people in the schools can recommend mom and dad because kids can't concentrate at school or anything, concerned about these disabilities, intellectual disabilities in the long way of developing skills, soft skills or hard skills along life. So the nervous system connection is closely linked to the autonomic nervous system. So this is not a class of anatomy, but I just wanted to emphasize that constant fear or trauma keeps the soul in a permanent state of tension. And there is a state for us humans which is homeostasis, which is like a balance of all our needs, like physiological needs or affection needs. And so this balance has to get the point, right? And then we can live peacefully and much more in harmony with the others and with the system. Healing the soul is more than stretching. So there are several different techniques for that. You can take part of groups of conversation. You can practice yoga. You can run. You can walk. It's just a kind of looking for your body is asking, right, for you. So you have to listen the voice of your body. So you have to allow yourself to cry when you need. Breathe deeply from your diaphragm when you need. You can take breaks to lie on the ground if you need, right? Uh, uh, Practice hip opening movements if you need some stretch. Listen to your body before it needs to scream. So when you release your psoas, you don't just heal your body, you heal your own story. Right. So here it is. We have a very interesting situation to show you. So the first picture with the guys there studying and writing, take notes. So it should be like a kind of investigation, uh, solving a math problem, for example. So the second one is just the decision, like showing the fear in the middle, right? So this is concentrated in the amygdala part of the brain. And in the one who is showing investigation on the left is prefrontal cortex. The third one on your right is learning a language, for example, flashbacks. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's suppose that you were in trouble. So a snake is ready to attack you. So, what are you going to do? So, you have the fear because you saw the snake coming to you. No, this is mainly, you can feel this in this central part of the brain, which is amygdala. Then, for example, if you try to solve the situation, you probably run of this situation. Then this investigation goes to your left side, like investigating for an answer. Or you can also stay in the hippocampus where you will have flashbacks in your memory to see when did I face such a problem? How will I react emotionally deeper inside of my feelings? Maybe there is a registered situation where I can have the answer for the input and maybe the answer for the question what to do, right? So this is the parts we are suggesting for you to analyze. Everything is just very, very, very complex because it happens in the limit of the comprehension of the doctors. Maybe this is an easy task for them, but for us professors, just we can see what they are saying or behaving or expressing in their minds or in their attitudes toward the others or toward the inputs that the professor is proposing to them. Right. So then I will have this situation for you. On your right, you have the feelings in the attitude, what goes on deeply inside your brain. And then the brain and emotion can also be analyzed in different aspects, but the example of the snake is absolutely proper. Then I would just ask you how you would classify these emotions and feelings. So we have a list of feelings there and emotions, and I want you to say if it is feeling or emotion. Are you ready to decide? Right? Is it emotion or feeling? Okay. Take note of it, and then you will be able to um, send us your feedback, right? So, what would you say about love or about anger before? What would you say about anger? So, do you feel anger deeply inside, or is just a situation that you can manage at that moment? Then everything can get better in a couple of minutes if you breathe deeply inside. So mainly anger should be said as emotion. Like love. How would you say? Do you feel in love for someone? So love, feelings. Fear. How would you say fear? So it's nothing if you say for a kid, oh no, it's nothing. Don't worry about this. So it should be emotion, okay? Happiness. How do you classify that? It can pass, uh, in a couple of seconds. Then it's emotion, right? Jealousy. Okay, don't look for my girlfriend. So this is a kind of feeling when the person is this way. Sadness. Oh, I'm so sad about what happened with me this morning because something you were not expecting had happened. Pride. So, oh, I got the first place at school. So you're proud of yourself. Joy. So I got a new job. So you have the joy. Pride feeling, joy feeling too. Anxiety. Oh, I don't know about the result. if I'm going to be dead or not. So you're anxious to know the answer, and that is a feeling because it's deep inside of you. So this is not, then when you get the answer, say, oh my God, I'm going to be dead, then this is emotion. Gratitude, I don't know what to say, you saved my life. So it goes deeper inside of you. So feelings, disgust, oh no, that was a terrible situation, definitely. So her behavior in the party was horrible, right? So the dad got disgusted about the behavior of the kids in the party. Hope. Well, I hope you like and learn about emotions and feelings at the end of the class. So I have the hope deeper inside. Surprise. Oh, I'm surprised you were asking me this question because I don't feel able to answer it, right? So I can search afterwards if you permit. So just surprised with the question. I was not accepting by the moment, but now I think I have an answer. And your mission as a professor is to give answers to your students. Earlier or later, you have to. Compassion. Oh no, no, no. What's going on there in the situations like the war situations is just it touches my heart deeply inside. So you have the compassion for all those people dying there in that situation. Oh, so shame, yeah? Because shame because wow, so I don't know what to say. I am uh, reddish, so I feel brush it. I brushed it myself because I got brushed because I didn't feel comfortable with that, so I had to leave the place, for example. Then I guess you got all the answers. So I'm gonna give you the answers, and you check if you did this right or wrong. Okay? So emotions. The next slide, we're gonna have the answers. How about that? Did you get many things ready? Okay, so is that right? So afterwards, you can tell me there in the chat if you did a good job, right? So this is the answer. Check it. Then afterwards, you can check because this material will be available for you too. Then let's have a warm up about emoji guess. Well, emoji is a very, very interesting subject because it became global, didn't it? Well, it was a Japanese guy who could propose the faces, and he started using the signs of the keyboard. His name is Kuruta, right? So let's play this game. So I had written in Portuguese and English for you. If you speak Spanish, I hope you can understand. Quiero que entiendan bien, pero pueden hablar al chat si no me comprendes. You can speak in the chat if you do not understand what the words in Portuguese mean, right? So, feelings and emotions like so happy, sad, angry, scared, surprised, in love, confused, tired, and sick. Do you think there is a relation between what is designed there and the word? Wow, it's positively a very good investment of Google, who bought the rights of these designs, and now they are global, right? Okay, and we have varieties of these designs, right? Here you can see different faces, different ways to express them, but you see the mouths of the ones with two hearts in the eyes. Well, the mouth is a little bit different, but it's okay. They express more or less the same thing, right? So, and then we have a third example here, how the colors can also change the way they present, but meaning the same, right? And it has gone farther and farther the perfection of the science and the way to create and to innovate science in several different manners. For example, feelings and emotions expressing with the hand gestures. Imagine the ones who are excluded with the capacity to speak. Then, if they express themselves with the hands or the hand, they will be easily understood, right? So, these are all examples of possibilities to express your emotions and feelings by using the hands only, right? And here you have a kind of association between relieved. For example, the first one, oh my God, it was hard, but I did. Frightened, scared, afraid of, oh, I didn't expect to leave that, but I did. Or angry, furious, or infuriated about something. Or sad, unhappy because you were informed about something you were not expecting. And hopeful, oh, I hope I can do that. Or confused, I don't know exactly what to do. Let me think. Or bored. So this class is bored, or no, sometimes it's not the other who is bored. Sometimes we are bored so much that we are not ready to have the inputs we are facing in front of us, right? So sometimes the emotions and feelings they dominate your life, and there is no watch or clock to say no, it's going to stop, it's going to go on, or not. So we never know when we are going to change attitudes in terms of the processing of emotions deeply inside of our mind and soul. So pronunciation practice. So I hope you understand this. Let's repeat these words: happy, sad, angry, uh, and then you can just show me the way you express these words without saying them properly. Like, so happy, okay, sad, okay, and angry. So you can do this in just examples for you to understand what I'm saying. Right. So I am plus the emotion. As we said at the beginning of the presentation, emotions are more superficial, right? And feelings are in the very very low waters of the ocean. There at the floor of the ocean. That's the address of the feelings, right? So I am happy, she said. We are excited. And negative is very easy. You just put not there. And then you're going to say, I'm not angry. Or if you want to question something, you just put the verb in front of the person and you say, are you tired? And then you give short answers. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. You can also say, I am. Then you're going to be very positive. I'm not. Then you're also being very positive to say something. But it's up to you to decide. Or, oh, yes, I am tired. Or, no, I'm not tired. So you have different ways to answer this. Right. So I want to say, um, this exercise for you. Then can you fill it out there, please? So today I feel because, then you're going to say me why you were or you were not. Because means por qué en español, together, right? So if you say why in English, you want to know the reason, right? So this is por qué en español, shared. It's a question. So today I feel good because it's hot. If you don't like when it's cold, right? So it's an example. Make a feelings poster in groups. I'm gonna give you a certain time for you to grow. You can join in groups, and then you can check the feeling of the group, how the group is feeling today, right? Don't say words, just write faces or emojis if you want. Then the other group is going to try to understand how the group feels like. The personalization of the spirit of each group. Okay, then let's remember. How do you say triste in English? Okay, sad. All right. So What, or unhappy, you could also say unhappy. What do you say when you are very happy? Very, very, very happy. So you are delighted about something, right? Okay, and are you tired or excited right now? I hope you are okay to go until the end of the class with me. Right. Okay, so naming emotion is the first step to understand ourselves, like happy, calm, anger, fear, or sad. Is it clear for you? I hope it is. Right. Then you have these examples here, and let's keep learning together. We continue by examining the impact of cultural influences on the themes we've discussed so far. If someone is saying, "Oh, the weather is very nice. Let's go to the beach," then you say happy, or "Oh, I'm so sorry, but you failed in your exam." So nobody likes this. Angry. I'm very angry with you because you didn't go to school today. Right. So that's what you're going to do. So ask your partner, how are you today? I am surprised, for example. And you, right? You can use these cards to play with your classmate. Did you get me? Right. So I'm going to give you a certain time during class to play with these cards, right? Now I'm gonna have these situations for you. You can just choose the option you want. How is he feeling? He's hungry. He's thirsty. He's cold. What do you suggest? Whenever we need water, we are thirsty. So the second board is the answer. How is she feeling? She's sleepy, she's happy, or she's angry? I didn't listen you. So what did you choose? Ah, she's almost sleeping there. So she's sleepy. So how is the feeling of this shot? Next one I'm gonna put here. What do you think? Oh, it looks like he's gonna become Hook, the Incredible Hook, huh? In this way. Is he hot, shy, or angry? What do you think? Uh-huh, you got it. He's angry, right? It's not the same of hungry, huh? Hungry is you need something to eat. This is angry. How is she feeling? This beautiful blue-eye baby, right? She's surprised, she's tired, or she's bored. Huh? I didn't listen. Ah, she's surprised. Okay, thank you. Right. How is she feeling? She's scared, disgusted, or she's shy? She's disgusted. Yes, you got the one, right? So she's scared means, oh, I'm scared. She's shy. Well, oh, I'm so shy about the situation. When something just puts you in trouble, right? The one beside this, how is he feeling? He's upset, he's scared, he's bored. Well, what did you say? He's upset. So I lost my mind. He lost his control, right? How are they feeling now? They are in love, frustrated, or bored? I think it's going to be a very nice wedding party, huh? Well, good start. So they are in love. And the last one, how is he feeling? Oh no, not the last one. This one, how is he feeling? He is angry, scared, or he's sad. He's lost in New York, as a matter of fact. So he is scared to be there in that wonderful but huge town. And the last one now, how is she feeling? She's furious. She's cold or she's hot. Uh-huh, you got that. She's furious, right? Then you recognize that everything. We're going to see how can we perceive emotions and feelings in the humanities. Then all these manifestations of knowledge, uh, and sensibility, you can see in the cinema, literature, arts, history, philosophy, theater, and also circles. In how can we classify the way the authors in the literature share these stages of the quest. A tragedy, for example, a romance, irony, or a parody, right? Tragedy, for example, Titanic, right? Can be an example of tragedy. Romance, it can be, for example, Romeo and Juliet. Irony, what would you consider irony? Have you got your choice? It can be, for example, when you have an unexpected end of any presentation there. Um, in terms of cinema, literature. So the final or the history is just hidden behind of everything. So you do not expect the person to face the trouble and the person faces that, right? The personage dies at the end of the book or something. That's ironic because he was a hero, and then when the film ends, you have that situation of frustration, a feeling of frustration because you did not expect that after all the personage should die. And how can humans remain immortal in their own life process? Right? I would say that um, whatever we do to impress people and also to express uh, them how beautiful is the use of words and the use of feelings, right? And the abilities or the skills to play an instrument. And then we have the stages of the quest in front of us, just to let you classify them, how they can be manifested. For example, tragedy, associated emotions like grief, fear, pity, despair, helplessness, or associated feelings like sadness, loneliness, regret, moral conflict. How it works? In tragedy, a character usually falls from greatness due to fate, as I told you, flaws, or societal conflict, and the audience empathizes with the character's suffering and often reflects on human vulnerability. Example, Hamlet. To be or not to be, this is the question. Or Oedipus Rex of Sophocles. Romance can be associated with hope, joy, admiration, triumph, or associated feelings like love, enthusiasm, idealism, and inspiration. How does it work? Romance, in the literary sense, not just romantic love, portray hero positions or heroic quests like ideal worlds and personal growth. It uplifts the audience by focusing the possibility and the transformation. For example, the famous series, right? The Lord of the Rings, fairy tales, or heroic myths, right? Can you tell me heroic myths about heroic myths? Do you remember anyone? Joanna d'Arc, for example, one of the first to fight in the war is a woman, you know, and then she became a kind of myth in the history of literature, mainly in France, where she is there in the cathedral Montmartre, right? Until today. So irony, associated emotions like cynicism, amusement, embarrassment, detachment, or associated feelings like doubt, this or that, don't know, mistrust. Oh, you did that. Intellectual curiosity. Oh, let me know about this animal. I don't know about anything about that. Or mockery, when needing an answer for something and you don't know what to say. Then you have the prompt to answer. Your your interviewer, your professor, or someone from your family. So you have the mockery sensation for that. How it works. Irony shows the gap between expectation and reality. Oh no, no, it can't be true. I did not expect this situation for that personage. Then you just travel with your imagination, by reading, having the
pleasure to read the pages and to be in front of the personages. Mainly if you read, because then your mind goes farther than if you just have visual memory. So here we often use sarcasm or contradiction in order to impress the readers. So it makes the audience think and feel uncertain, questioning appearances and truth. Example, 1984, George Harvell, a tragic irony and modern satires. And the last one, the parody associated with emotions like laughter, playfulness, amusement. Associated feelings like lightness, creativity, detachment, irreverence. How does it work? Parody mimics and mocks other genres or styles. It makes people feel clever or amused by exaggerating familiar patterns. It often reduces emotional weight to expose cliches or cultural flaws. For example, Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, Shrek uh, and Fiona, for example, or The Simpsons. So sometimes they are not icons of what the main focus of the story is, like uh, beauty, for example, in the case of Shrek, or the position of a horseman fighting in a war. Don Quixote is just a kind of parody of the figure of the hero represents in the world of literature, right? So then we have expressions about emotions and feelings in different forms, like the philosophy itself. So how does it work? Explores the nature of emotions. What is love? What is anger or irrational anger, or emotional perception, like true reflection in ethics. Philosophy helps understand why we feel and how we should act. Do you remember the myth of the cave, right? So Plato, that was very, very Aristotelic, a continuation of studies and perceptions about the world in the Aristotelic school. Or examples like Nietzsche's concept of the will to power, connecting emotion with human action and meaning. Well, we would say the theater is magic, mainly if you go back to Shakespearean theater. I think you do not imagine that, but the queen used to go to the to this place uh, written by Shakespeare. We never know if he was influenced by the population. There is also a film reporting this situation, but the queen used to go there mainly to know about what was going on with the society itself. And it was just the emotional perception about everything. And then gesture, voice, silence, and interaction with the audience creates catharsis, which is a term from Aristotle. So catharsis is just when something goes on and it cleans your spirit, right? It's the opposite of mimesis, which is just a sensation of enchantment about something you were facing, like going inside the pyramids of Egypt, or just going inside the Notre Dame Cathedral. Then you have the sensation of mimesis, right? And it's the opposite. It's just the joy you feel to be evolved by such an atmosphere. And catharsis just it was hard for me deep inside, but I could overcome the situations. Then it sounds that by this way you can clean your feelings. So examples are Greek tragedies or modern dramas like Death of a Salesman move audience through emotional tension. Of course, here in Brazil, it is very famous. We have very famous circles, and then it has been such a long, long, long experience along the way. The entertainment process, for example, the masks of sad or happy in the representation of the theater in the Greek theater, right? The reservatory stage. Uh, the reservatory water, uh, they became stages for actors to improve and show scenes of the everyday life. And also, they cover the faces, and that's why we have in Portuguese the word personas or persona, because it comes from identity or then the emotional perception who is who without really showing them for everybody, just covering the face. So emotional perception brings us very, very nice experience, merely the joy to be involved with the atmosphere of the circle. Like clowns evoke both laughter and melancholy, or acrobatics evoke away awe and anxiety. Oh no, no, they are going to have this definitely done by a good way. Oh, the bittersweet smile of a mime may evoke empathy more than words. For example, a clown showing something different there, then the kids mainly can read these expressions easily, right? So dance, how does it work? So dance shows movement, rhythm, and physical expression convey emotions through the body's language without words. And also the emotional perception, like is the dance slow or fluid movements or evoke sadness or longing or energetic, sharp motions or express anger or excitement? For example, tango, which was the dance uh, popular, very popular in Paris, and then in Argentina it became also famous. But there are, several different styles of dance, mainly street dance. Many youngsters love to dance it, right? An example that I've brought from home, like Martha Graham's modern dance pieces use contraction and release the deep struggle and passion, vividly communicating emotional and intensity, right? So then we have the cinema. Then we had the Oscar to Fernanda Montenegro. Now it was a pleasure for us in Brazil to have it. It was such a, extraordinary conquest, reporting the whole movements toward the military hard period in Brazil. So it reports a certain environment and atmosphere that we can just travel with our imagination to the context that are being shown in a film or in a movie, right? So it works combining music, images, narrative, performances to trigger deeper emotions like fear, joy, suspense, or emotional perception like through characters' arcs, lighting soundtracks, and symbolic imagery. Example, a silent close-up can express grief more powerfully than words. I mean, you just listen to a certain music of the film, and then your heart beats like it's going to escape from your chest, right? It's just the music puts you in a symphony of tension moment, and then you just change your behave completely. Like the literature, how does it work? Language creates internal words like metaphors, dialogues, and narrative voice reveals subtle feelings too. Or the emotional perception, like reading, let us enter in a personage, like the basic psyche of the personage, feeling how we would be in his place. Sometimes it's nice to take the place of the personage to see how you would react for that with joy, anger, or regret. And one example of this is the Bell Jar of Sylvia Plath's Descent into Depression Through Poetic Language. So arts, as I told you, the Joanna d'Arc monument is still there in the Montmartre Cathedral, as well as the paints of Michelangelo Buonarroti are all there in the Sistine Chapel. So how does it work? Colors, forms, and composition express feelings and non-verbally sensations too. So abstract art may express anxiety or chaos. Realism can evoke nostalgia or awe. Example, Van Gogh's swirling skies in the starry night reflect emotional turbulence, right? Salvador Dali, for example, the melting oceans, they show a sensation that the image goes on, it goes down instead of going up, or nobody understands what he was feeling with the melting of clocks and watches and everything. So this is his spirit who got him a certain immortality in the context of arts events, right? And finally, the history, how does it work? So shows collective emotional responses like hope in revolutions, trauma in wars, emotional perception. There is speeches in historical art reveal how people felt about their world. Well, nobody know about that, but many films came to explain that, to explain the history with more details and give us a sensation about the rebuilding of what the atmosphere lived at that time uh, could be just shown for a public where time is not exactly a barrier to bring the facts up again. For example, the Holocaust, and for example, the the world, uh, First World War and the second one, for example, and all the materials that could stay with us, from letters from soldiers reporting their fear, longing, and loss. So just you can have more than one option. Like, okay, history is literature is together. Merely cinema can be another form to express emotions and feelings. And like feelings were exactly pointed by the ones who could leave that situation because they are deeper. And emotions is just the way you perceive the way you observe what is being presented to you in your self judgment about the facts. Music is fantastic, isn't it? So how does it work? The melody, the harmony, rhythm, and dynamics evoke and communicate emotions through sound patterns. For example, a waltz, right? So it's fantastic. Vienna, it reports, it moves you to Vienna, right? So and if you put samba, like Brazil, right? So it reports the way people in Brazil can reinforce carnival and their uses and cultural background, mainly considering the Afro-descendant contribution, which was very, very important in Brazil for us in several different areas, not only in the music itself, but also in the literature. It was also in the United States with a, a, a Surya, Toni Morrison, so which was very good example of literature in the expression of concepts and sceneries from how people could live or feel how the author was trying to report or frame a certain context. What to say about Beethoven's Symphony Number 5? Oh, it opens with a powerful, urgent motive that conveys faith and struggle, stirring deep emotional response. Right. So that's what I have said in the other slide. We have combined perspectives, like perceptions, which could be shown in different, sceneries of manifestation of emotions and feelings. Like the philosophy shapes cinema scripts, theater brings literature to life, history contextualizes art, so emotions in humanities are not studied in isolation, but felt, expressed, and reimagined across forms. Why it matters. Right. These stages help educators, artists, and storytellers structure narratives that resonate emotionally with their audience. You can even use them in teaching language, like literature or emotions, showing how feelings and emotional reactions vary depending on the narrative tone. And there is something very, very important for us to think. Nobody knows what is going on in your mind. So, are you insane to laugh from a tragic situation? Okay, let's give you an example. Um, someone has gone, someone has passed away, And then you go to the funeral, to the burial, and you start to laugh there. So is this a proper reaction for you to behave such a way? Mainly, you're not strong enough to resist for that, and then maybe laughing should be a form to escape from the difficult situation that you could find at that moment. So who can say what whenever people shock us with strange reactions, whenever balance should be the point. So, Shakespeare on love and emotion. I do love nothing in the world so well as you. Is not that strange? But that I love thee, I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. Look, this is very strange because the language does not accept, you know, the reader to understand what Shakespeare was trying to say. Because die here in this situation means you. So, or it reports to you, which is your. So, but that I love thee, I will live in your heart, die in your lap, and be buried in your eyes. So, but there was an English spoken at that time, which does not permit us to understand what is really going on. Like we never know what was written in the cylindric form of Cyril, uh, or what was written there in the Rosetta Stone. Well, so we need to understand these signals because someone has to give us meaning for everything. And when this meaning does not join what we really feel inside, we are we are in confrontation with emotion and feelings. So I can't understand what is being said because the language is not accessible. But the main intention of Shakespeare at that time when he had written this sentence was to show emotion, which was love, longing, surrender, and feeling, the vulnerability, like playfulness and poetic devotion. Well, whenever you say the language, if you connect there, if you are connected with the language of the suburbs in the United States, like there in the Brooklyn area. Or if you go to, for example, Louisiana, New Orleans, you're going to see the Creole cuisine and you're going to see, uh, many people expressing themselves, mainly bringing us the sensation for us Brazilian people. We had the slavery here. So if you visit New Orleans, for example, you have a background of the emotions and feelings which was, a milestone to identify the style of life at that time, right? So they had slavery, they had the farms to, to produce cane. And whenever you go there, you have the feeling to be visiting the same background you have as a Brazilian person. The ones who did not know what slavery is will never have the feeling that the one who had already passed it to this situation or got informed about this situation. So nobody could imagine what the Shakespearean theater was. Once you read and get prepared to understand what Shakespeare wanted to express at that time. But it means too much be prepared about something in order to read. It's not that the person is not able to understand what is being seen or read or listened. The person does not have the ability to manage with such a speech uh, whenever it does not match the level of comprehension of the person. So sometimes you have to learn about something, then and then reread this in order to try to have a certain cohesion and coherence in the manifestations of of knowledge, and then to set the emotion moments and feelings in the right and proper place. Right. So language barrier or bridge. We had already given you the example of Old English in the text of Shakespeare. Sometimes just one unfamiliar word can block the whole message or invite us to feel deeper. This is just a kind of semantic problem. Like, uh, you can get really furious if you misunderstand a word. But who knows you were deaf? Nobody knew that you misunderstood the word, or the environment was too knowledge. It was too noisy for you to understand what was going on. So then you misunderstood something and you just expressed your furious attitude towards someone, even the physical aggression or verbal aggression, just because you misunderstood something, right? So, like, understanding things should be a mission for all of us, like processing properly the ideas before having an explosive reactions. So this is the main point of communication, because it has too much emotion and feeling in whatever you say. For example, the word really, you say really. How do you feel this word? I'm surprised with that. So the word reveals too much about how I am feeling. I say really. So I'm just expressing that I am disappointed with something. Or I would say really. Convincement, right? So that's poetic language like die, make love more beautiful. What feelings come up when we decode old words? Oh, okay, I got you, Shakespeare. You want to say you're, right? You were speaking about something out of you, the other voice. You love it, the personage love it so much. So I could not understand that only by reading that with the word die. So it means too much in terms of comprehension. So, how can we become immortal in our own life process? Like, means living it in a way that transcends times, not through the body, but through meaning, which is semantic value. So, here are some paths to immortality within the human experience. So, we don't know if there is a soul after we pass uh, we pass it away, right? We don't know this, but we could perceive that we have left enough to be at least remembered by the ones who loved us or by the ones who hated us, right? Okay, so what are we talking about? We are talking about memory and legacy, right? So remaining deep inside of situations we had already passed it by. We had learned about that along our journey in this world. Nobody can for us. Nobody can for us. We are the only ones to live our own lives, and we are the only ones who can change or rewrite our own uh, history, right? So it's just a divine uh, conception of life, like coming here to have mistakes or errors, but also to have the second chance to to come back to the way things were not going right or frustrating you. So, of course, sometimes you need lots of professionals in terms of psychiatrical treatment or psychological support. There's nothing wrong about looking for someone to help you, because this person had the sensation to read enough to help you and put you in the right way to understand the the main existence of each each of us, right? So to live in hearts we leave behind is not to die. That's Campbell, right? Creation through art, writing, music, invention, or even a small garden you plant. So it's just something, everything which is done with our fingers or hands is just out of you, right? You're just stretching your own potential emotional um, emotional abilities, which we would say hard skills or soft skills, right? So the hard skills would be reported with competence, like concepts, like abilities, um, technical abilities, or human abilities, right? And the soft skills would be treating about all the manifestations of emotion and feelings, right? So we already could advance in a position, one more step, with the comprehension of what soft skills and hard skills are, right? The third one being pointed here is meaningful action living authentically and with purpose, like an echo, right? So when our actions are aligned with our values, we create emotional continuity. We feel whole across time. Example, choosing courage, forgiveness, or love, right? And then the number four is just the storytelling and language telling. Everybody, all of us, should have a book written about our own way in this world, because we are the one to you are the one who you just choose the options to go on. Like Shakespeare once said, men at sometimes are masters of their fates. It means you can just do whatever you want, even commit suicide if you want. Like Max Weber used to say that, the theory of suicide, like it's just a level of frustration, of trauma that does not permit you to go further, otherwise giving you silence for the rest of your life. Merely this can release the sensation of pain you have inside, committing an extreme act of courage, which is just giving up of your own life. But by the other say, but by the other side, we would say, who is going to stay and live every day with this frustrated sensation that the one he or she loved most just has decided to leave and to break down the story that was being written with several different personages like mom and dad, the family, and everybody. So this is too much the mortal human condition against the immortal human emotion, the desire, the pain, and the triumph. Uh, think about how ancient myths still teach us how to be human. Like Cleopatra, for example, she was bitten by a snake, right? Imagine that. So the history of suicide is just there inside, or the requirement of being prepared for certain emotions which we're not ready for that. Like Tutankhamun, for example, being the king of Egypt earlier in his time, as well as Dom Pedro II, Dom Pedro II in Brazil, was supposed to assume a position, but someone was just José Bonifácio de Andrade Silva was taking care of him as his tutor, right? Then, if we see the picture as meninas de Velázquez, the girls of Velázquez, we say that they are dressed with very tight dresses, like requiring them to behave by a way, not permitting them to live their childhood. So people should understand that the emotions of a kid are not the same of an adult, that requiring from a kid to behave like an adult, or the opposite, an adult behaving like a kid, it just shows something that goes really, really, really wrong in terms of logic, you know. But sometimes it's nice to wake up, that key that is living there inside our heart, in our soul, in our mind. So it is our own history, and it helps too much to go further in order to understand the process of living, which is just going on with the cycle, which is like being birthed, and then living, and then reproducing or not, and then dying. And then the soul or the alma, nobody came back to say, but scientists are crazy to try to discover if we do have another chance to come back or not. The only one who got closer was Lavoisier, who said that in nation, nothing is created, everything is transformed. So conscious presence, some philosophers like Zen or Stoicism see immortality not as endless time, but as total presence in each moment. Like living deeply and presently makes time feel infinite. Like eternity is in love with the productions of time. That's William Blake, right? So William Blake also expressed uh, quotes like, um, the bird, the nest, the spider, a web, man, friendship. Look, the feeling of friendship in the literature, William Blake reports to deep feelings like, um, to being closer to one who can fulfill my needs. That was the point we started our conversation with Maslow. And we're speaking about the manifestation of needs with William Blake. Who needs friendship? Who needs friendship? Individual subject or collective subject? So it depends. We are stronger in groups. So whenever groups join and fight for the same reason, or they have a reasonable sense of to choose what is good for someone or not, that's what we call nation. Nation is a group of people who are available to live in the same values and share the same values. So they are nations, right? But if I want to be isolated, like um, films that we also can illustrate this with films like O Náufrago in Portuguese, né? Uh, so the one who had the ball, soccer, no, it was a football ball as the best friend, and this is it. Like nowadays, we are in danger with in artificial intelligence. Like it sounds that the machines are learning how to uh, manage with emotions and feelings in such a way that they can convince you easily to find solutions for problems that you can't by yourself. So this is the new century, right? So spiritual or philosophical continuity. Many traditions believe in the continuation of the soul. That was we were reporting you since the beginning of the class. That then this sensation of a god or gods dominating my life can also give you some aspects like the um, the moral principles you need to guide your life honestly, and also being more proper with your attitudes, considering the contexts that are being shown everywhere in the world, and sometimes, mainly now in social nets, that you sometimes do not know where to go, if here or there. So you stay in job, and you and all of us, we need a certain moment to think deeply inside which feelings we have related to a certain behavior of a leader, which can be a democratic leader, laissez-faire leader, or liberalist, or autocratic leader. So sometimes, like, our emotions and our feelings mean nothing for someone who is just controlling our lives as robots, or as not being people. So the word people makes the whole difference, right? So organization is complex, but if we study deep inside, we can see different styles of organization. And we start with our own proper organization, which is the way we conduct ourselves in relation with the others, right? So these are the words of Bakhtin, right? I am completed whenever I see the presence of the other in my life. So it's dialogism is much better than monologues, right? So acceptance is the key to peace, right? The remain immortal in your own life process is to plant seeds that blossom in others, in memory and in meaning, long after the day ends. Right. So that's why I say, right, um, whenever you have a dispute, you have, the opposite of peace, war. Okay, what can we do to have peace reestablished? Well, we have to negotiate, we have to fight in the court, or we have to give up and live for the rest of our lives with those injustice, taking part of our own life process, which can become deep traumas and can also uh, longer away be demonstrated in different contexts and also generate frustration, right? Well, let's go here. Main difference: the lack of emotional control, the madness, the mental disorders. There is a limit between these two things. I never know what did he do. So there was lack of emotional control. Oh no, he did that because he had several mental disorders, which is madness. So then we have a way to treat this, like showing the others our emotions or feelings. Sometimes can we become vulnerable because we are too much exposing ourselves. When do we do that? Mainly when we drunk something or we had alcohol effects in our body, which are attitudes to escape from your reality. Like don't so this contact with reality, like preserve it even if under distress, or madness, often lost or distorted. So a woman who takes all her clothes and she gets nude and she marches along the streets. So what was the reason for that? It was just to protest against anything, or the woman was a little bit lost with the situation. What is the difference between using a proper cloth or clothes for moments? For example, not going to a bank with a trunk, or not going to swim with a suit. Right. So just sometimes this just the composition of yourself in terms of what you dress, or the extension of you in terms of the objects you use, can also address you back to Maslow category, like the status position. Oh no, he or she, they wear like branding top uh, uh, marks or logos, right? Like Yves Saint Laurent, or Paco Rabanne, or whatever. So does it make you happy does it help you to be better in the world, or does it help you to be accepted? That's why we said that acceptance is peace, no matter how much it is. Because sometimes you just make the difference between what you are, not because of what you are deep inside, but for what you wear or use. So this is the worst part of capitalism, I mean, right? So I am too much what I wear or I use, not too much what I am deep inside. So this is intensity. Mild to moderate these anxious situations, like moderate to severe, né? Or cause stress, trauma, emotional exhausting, or neurological or psychiatric condition. Treatments: you can also have psychotherapy, mindfulness, lifestyle changes. For example, diabetes, 2 and 1. 1 is okay, terrible. But 2, you can manage this with emotional control. You can just diminish the anxiety to eat sweet things, and you can live longer. But Some people who suffer from diabetes, they are uncontrollable in terms of sweet stuff in their diets. So then we need some medication and clinical support closer to help people not to reach the limits of themselves, right? And prognosis, in terms of emotional control, can address us to improve with self-awareness and support, while madness requires continuous medical care. Nowadays, it's fantastic how people can manage many illnesses, mainly dementia, with some health centers who try to provide common life for people. They are not in a medical care center. They are inserted in a kind of condominium and they live there inside. They have all their emotions and feelings like a normal life out of this situation, but they are controlled by the system. As well as nowadays we have the bracelets for the prisoners, right, who can stay out of the prison and being controlled by the system with these electronic devices. Nowadays, people also think about micro systems like uh, inserting in the mind in order to control the emotions and the feelings, which is nemotechnology, which is such a strike for in terms of acceptance, ethical acceptance, because it violates the nature of a person, but it's already being used in products and also in animals, right? So this is something to be considered. Is this Can we diminish the aggressive of prisoner, which is feeling in how the way he can express this emotion, like hitting someone or being aggressive in the environment of a prison or killing someone with nanotechnology? Well, is this ethic or not? This is what we say um, a medical ethic, right? Or bioethics, which is another very interesting subject in the discussion we are presenting. Then we are getting closer to the end of our presentation, and we would say that Foucault vision, like madness in society, is something to think about. So, who was Hitler? A mad person, or he was the answer of the system? So now, who is being uh, the president of Russia? Does it express a general feeling of humanity, like social rights, or the Declaration of Social Rights after the Second World War? So that's 1948, if I'm not wrong. So does it express does it support the idea of releasing the pressure of you know, very difficult moments to fill out our needs whenever the resources, like the power to buy stuff or to have the own house or the rights who are all there written, like the right to be a person, to have kids, and to have a family and to have a good job and everything. So it interferes directly to the topic we are talking about. Like, so we need these needs to be fulfilled in our life. And sometimes it is a tragedy whenever our way is blocked by certain circumstances, mainly the right of health. So we do not have the access to the right procedure to cure a certain illness, or the government does not support the treatment for that illness. So it makes us feeling nothing uh, in terms of social consideration. Or whenever the government uh, just face the governments face this problem, we just say, oh, this government represents very well the population. And this is a kind of sensation of feeling of joy. You know, joy is what can be shared for the majority of people. Joy and happiness can't be what you express for one person, because then jealousy comes beside. So if you could and I can't, so something is wrong. So it makes me mad to know that some people can and I cannot. So I do not exercise my rights. So, well, sometimes this kind of frustration becomes merely a disease, right? And not a label of a very fair society, right? So control is the main point of, to combat differences and inequalities, because they prejudice too much the way we a person uh, conduces his life, or a group, a family, or a community, or the whole world uh, is just facing certain circumstances, mainly dominated by money interests, moreover than human interests. So then people behave differently, manifesting whatever they can. They manifest themselves like being artists, mystics, or rebels, or also treated as mad people, not because they were sick, but before they challenged the social norms. So Foucault reveals too much how institutions like asylums, prisons, or even schools that we had already talked about sometimes act more to discipline behavior than to truly help individuals. Like, is the school a place for transformation, or is that a prison I have to stay for years there? So some people now with the internet are just, changing their way of facing this with long distance courses. So to be someone, to have my own job and to have my social rights, I do not need to move myself and have the risk to be assaulted or robbed or stolen, along my way to school. So school is not exactly the most fair place to stay nowadays. Many wrong things happen in the schools too. So it's very, very difficult to determine or define what is or was sane, or it has to be at least reasonable, right? So think about it. We are almost ending the class. Losing emotional control is not madness, and even what we label as madness must be approached with empathy, respect, and critical view of how society treats difference and mental difference as a matter of fact, right? So, to go on, this part of our explanation goes to uh, interdisciplinary connections, showing how different fields inform each other. And we have talked about you. So I had the pleasure to study in California State University, where I could have these contents with me. But so I have the obligation to pass you these ideas that were transmitted to me far away from my existence. So the hero with a thousand faces is all meets one emotional map. So Joseph Campbell just gave up of his final presentation, his thesis final presentation, in order to be who he really was. He, not a doctor, a PhD, but someone who had something to tell, and he told, and he has given too much for us along his existence. And I think he is a remarkable person whenever considering the hero with a thousand faces, how we can just change our positions along the life process, and the hero becomes the mad person, or the opposite, the mad person becomes the hero. So internal emotional evolution, and he retells everything in this book, right? So I think I do recommend you to read this book. So if you go to Aristotle's emotional structure, like the Greek tragedy and the emotional path, we will see these things, like the mimesis. I had already talked to you about that. The imitation of action, the recognition. Whenever I enter in a church, I have the sensation that I am in the house of God, because everything there is just sacred. So phobos is the fear, the danger, the risk. Elios, like which is pity or compassion, suffering injustice. Like for example, in Brazil we have Tiradentes, no, who was killed, after that, or all the ones died there, like well, even the women in Europe considered witches, just they were all killed, and mainly Maria Antonietta, for example, was also condemned to to death because her personality was absolutely abusive in terms of attitudes, like how she expressed her ironization of the poverty of the people. So if you do not have what to give for the population, give them some cake or brioches, as we will say in France. So she was ironizing everything. So then the people were needing catharsis, which was an emotional purification. It was a relief to clarity. So her position is a person from the from the real court was not matching the way people were living. In her behavior was also disrespecting the social conditions, which did not directed us to a balanced environment. There were too much uh, um, poverty in France, for example. Then we would say Joseph Campbell has left this sentence for us, that the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are, which is authenticity. So be yourself every time, right? So here we have the proposal of the journey stages and emotions, matching stages with emotional experience. So this is a very famous book in the United States. This is just classifying stage in emotion. For example, the call to adventure, longing and uncertainty, the refusal of the call, fear, self doubt, the crossing the threshold, courage and excitement, the audio or the abyss, despair, grief and panic, meeting the mentor, trust, hope, and admiration, reward, gratitude, joy, and love. They return, wisdom, peace, and fulfillment. The return is very, very, very interesting, isn't that? Because we are still thinking about the Jesus resurrection, and if we already believe there as Catholic people, but so that he's coming back to save the world. So just the return, right? So these stages can just illuminating your way to understand situations in life. Then we are ending the presentation with master emotional intelligence, right? So here we have the ways, many tests, mainly developed mainly by famous psychological personages along our history, and like Freud, Jung, Carl Jung. Carl Jung used it to say that there is no new reality. Everything is lost in a big pool, right? So it's just reinventing things means giving a different reading or a different appearance to what was already invented or created, right? Not everything, I would say. So some realities became true, like Einstein, for example. It became true by his vision that something uh, could be done, right? But not him, but Alberto Santos Dumont got so frustrated after finding out that planes could be a very good way to improve life quality of the humanity. And then finally he committed suicide. So his house, it is in Petropolis. Then we visited that. He was an optimist. He also built up the house with the steps starting with the right one until he could reach the top of the entrance of his house. And he has left a letter written there on the corner of two walls saying that he was committing suicide um, because he was disappointed to know that the plane was used for uh, massive destruction, right? So a massive war aims, right? So Einstein was not a genius in all the disciplines that he had studied too, and so they confessed that they were not, right? Eh, so this is too much. Master emotional intelligence became easier with the studies and the contributions of many authors like Freud and also Carl Jung, and many ones who studied speech like Derrida, like Michel Foucault, and this brave, iconic theory um, people who could just give us a longer comprehension of what our mind really is. So, bar on emotional social intelligence. So, is there a model for that? So, we would say that 5 domains for well being should be just going with us, like intrapersonal, self awareness and assertiveness, interpersonal, empathy and social responsibility, adaptability. Uh, this is a very important conditions for all of us. Adaptability. In this world, man is the most one, you know, be adapted to any conditions, right? He can now be adapted to live in aircrafts or rockets going everywhere, or now we are just creating someone who can substitute us, like the robots are doing impossible missions to replace our limited existence, but we are these ones. Stress management, I've gone until I could, but from now on I'm just gonna leave because I can't go on, right? So general mood, which means being an optimistic person, like, and try to focus happiness in emotional social balance. That's what I have been telling you since the beginning of my speech. And then focus in social balance in world pieces, right? So we are just a group with several different pieces of existence, then a global knowledge or a global uh, coexistence means respecting mainly the differences. So we not being the same after so many inventions, and we will not be the same in a couple of years because of the massive use of technology in our life. So um, this is the main points for you, bar on emotional social. In 6 seconds models, we will say, if we count until three, we would say, how am I feeling? Then the second question is, what options do I have? And the third one is, what is truly important to me? If you can answer these 3 questions, I think you are in the right way. Then Plutchik's wheel of emotions, which is also a part of a study, proposes self-awareness, empathy, emotional regulation. There is a certain moment whenever a theory is being developed that things start to be repeated. So it's normal that you have two theories just adding a new subject. A theory is not a demonstration of real truth. It's just a theory is just a supposition about could what could be done or what could be said about something, but it's not ending the the persecution to the truth. The truth may be an illusion of our sense, but it's also coherence in what seems to be madness, but it's just looking for a reason to pursue a certain problem. Right. So we have 6 frameworks on your right side to help you. Think less and do more. Take care with this code. This is Thomas Funk who said that. So you should have SMART goals, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Trans-theoretical model, pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and replace. WOOP method, wish, outcome, plan, and obstacle. Rubicon model, like motivation, volition, uh, volition, and motivation. Volition means pre-actional phase or actional phase, which means doing the thing you committed to do. The cognitive behavioral therapy goes to thought, feelings, and behaviors, which means it is very close to what we say. And the ABC model is activating event, belief, and consequence. Right? Okay, we are almost there. So, secrets to a happy life. We have from Harvard's 85-year study. Just we have strong lines of studies. Uh, in the United States, Harvard is very respectful, but in Japan, we also had some studies concerned uh, tools to help you to reach aims faster, right, or quicker. Then here are some points from Ohio and Harvard are the two ones, the most strong, the strongest one. And Harvard reports to nurture childhood connections, stick to daily routines, money doesn't buy happiness, stay socially active, and avoid longer term isolation and share your feelings, right? And then build strong relationships. So the order does not make any difference. So from the right to left or the left to right. So these are the ones who can just elevate your sensation of to have a happier life. Everybody wants this, isn't that? So maybe you are the one who would say, no, Antonio, happy life means having the power of what money can buy, and be very, very concerned and restricted to this. And I would say definitely no. Many people feel happy and they are not rich. They are not rich. So they are rich here inside. They are rich for what the soul is asking, not the brain, the mind, right? So your soul needs not too much besides water and something to eat. But if you are very ambitious, then perhaps you're not pursuing happiness, but perhaps it will bring you many, many problems too. But it's your choice to choose who you want to be, and it's your lucky strike to be someone who does not match with financial problems. My final thought is like emotions in a fragmented mirror. Are we truly feeling or just playing the part we believe we are supposed to feel? So there is only one life in the world for you. So are you living your own condition of a human being, or are you just doing what people request you to do? So let this question remain not as a conclusion, but as a new beginning. Uh, are you just playing the game? Are you just playing the part we believe we are supposed to feel? Or are you really living every second of your life with the required emotion and with the respect of the fragmented mirror of your deepest feelings you have inside of you, right? So then here are my references. And I also have this exercise for you in the appendix, emotions, like physiological responses, as I said, and I hope I was clear enough for you to identify this. And feelings, subjective states who are deeper, are there deeper inside of you. What do I trust? What do I love? What my hopes are? What am I proud of? Or what's joy for me, right? So I have to ask myself in front of the mirror to find where these pieces are. And like the emotions, just no, I was drunk at that day, so I don't know what I said, but I got anger with something, or I was shame after all because I knew I misbehaved in a party, or I got surprised to know about something, or I had the fear of darkness when I was a kid, or I have the sadness to know that my neighbor is not feeling well. So I am disgusted to know that people discriminate people. So I just want to say again some pieces of the broken mirror. Think about it and talk with confident people whenever you need to express the way you face life. But you do not have the obligation to tell people who you are and what you feel, right? It's because it's your truth. And your truth is yours. Nobody's going to take it from you unless you share, right? So finally, I have some suggestions. Maybe because you can also invite kids to see these short videos can show the curiosity, of La Luna. For the birds, can show emotions and irritation, like surprise moments. The present, just it is just short, and it was a word too about acceptation and overcoming situations. A snack attack is the relationship between an old citizen and a boy sharing a meal, and an emotional confusion. Very, very funny too. And Piper, it is just a little baby bird fighting against his fears, right? And this is it. You have the history of emoji that I've told you about. This is a very interesting video you can also see, right? And this is it.